Hi, Dr.
Hi.
Christina's joining us. Very good to see you.
So good to see you, Sasha. I loved watching that. I can only imagine being there. It's amazing.
Well, we're very much looking forward to you guys getting out here when you come off your world tour. How's it going?
3 weeks. It's been great. It really has. We've been in the Middle East and Eastern Europe and just throughout everywhere. But we wish you were with us, and we're excited to be on this journey with you.
Thank
And
you. Bless you. Have
Joanne,
you met, carry on, Clayton, forgive me.
well, Joanne was mentioning earlier. I made a couple of comments, and I was on about an hour ago watching, and to hear the legal conversations. But I was mentioning before you hopped on that my son and I took the time yesterday to desecrate the grounds of the Vatican because we were in Rome. So I wasn't able to do true levels of debauchery before the policia said we had to leave. But I did my best to create some chaos. We'll
Good
go
man.
back tomorrow and do more.
Good man. Do your Guy Fawkes bit. That's delightful. Clay and Christina, please meet Kyle Kemper.
Hey, Clay. Hey, Christina.
Hi
Great to
there.
meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And
Nice
I'm
to
going to
meet you
bring
too.
on, and I'm
my
going to embarrass
Doge.
her because she's on the phone. I'm just going to bring her on. Look, she's on the phone and I brought her straight into the studio.
I know this woman. I know her.
Chicken burger.
I
Oh,
know
she's
you.
having the link.
It is not Alpha. It is the
I
Alpha.
was not ready for that, Sasha. You cheeky.
I know, darling. That was very rude of me. I apologize. I apologize profusely. I'm going
2
to balance
minutes
this out by
late.
I'm going to embarrass Joanne and have her in the studio as well, just to balance up the screen nicely. You understand? But look, I'm very happy to have you, friends, here. I think we've got Jesse Hall and Sarah Adams and Patricia Corey coming on and on. But whilst you guys were here, let me just start the dialogue with asking each of you what your vision is of a New Earth Horizon. What does it conjure in your minds, in your hearts, given that we are at this extraordinary shift point, civilizationally, planetarily? Just very keen to invite your insights into where you feel we're at and speak very bluntly, for good or for ill. We just want your feedback. So let me start with Kyle Kemper.
All right. Well, thank you, Sasha. It's such a pleasure to be here. So, I don't, I'm just trying to do the best that I can right now and to create and to criticize by creating. Because I think we know in the world there's a whole bunch of crap that's going on. And if we give energy to their plans, we're just going to help manifest that. And so instead, I seek to create new models and build on new systems. My last 10 years almost has been deep within the Bitcoin, crypto, decentralized movement space. I know there's a lot of talk right now about like the values of it, and the entire space honestly has been like, you always had this greed component to it. But there's something much larger to the whole decentralization movement and like the decommodification of money, in my opinion, which the technology can aid and abet. Um, Beyond, number go up, number go down, headlines around that, seeking to pool money together so that it just makes you more money so that you can, be debaucherous in your own lifestyle. Whereas really, I think as we move forward into this higher vibrational plane, we need to elevate our consciousness and, co-create and work together to realize the world that we want to live in and enable this new earth. After listening to a lot of the discussions earlier, it's just, there's so many like-minded hearts and souls with so much energy and passion that are dedicated towards realizing this new vision of humanity. And I think it's our duty right now to come together and create. And personally, one of my right now I'm leveraging this technology that we're building towards enabling capital formation and project organization, and looking at capital structuring in new models using decentralized technology and dynamic tokens. I've got a platform called Raise, which if anybody's interested and wants to learn more, please hit me up later. But for now, let's keep on topic. But I think ultimately one of the big things and what I really want to see come about is a return of power, you know, to the people and enabling direct democracy in the nations of the world, so that we can actually, you know, have votes and have informed voters and voting taking place around the world. That aren't, you know, once every 4 years, these hyper politicized, extremely expensive, you know, elections where they're motivating unconscious people to come out and make a blue check or a red check, instead to actually understand what you're voting on. And those who care about the issues will actually show up and vote and debate and have open debate. And I think that is really one of our key things that we need to do. And I think there's so much desire for solutions and energy around this that, you know, as we can come together and realize that this is one of the strands of the new earth is regenerative governance systems, that it's not going to take much. I mean, honestly, we have our magic wands here. They can do so much. They've got, you know, biometrics. They're connected to blockchain and immutable databases. And, you know, with some slick design, we should be able to vote, be able to hold, you know, the stewards who want to be kind of politicians of the world, held to account for their actions and their decisions. And I really feel like, you know, the time is coming, and we've seen, you know, very clearly, especially with you know, certain political leaders, and then this new class of front men of the corporations, who really are just reading scripts and aren't involved in any decision making, no longer represent the people. They just represent their parties. And if we allow and enable the people to have voice and to be able to participate, we give ourselves an opportunity to fix, build this new model. So,
well, what does that got to do with having a corgi looking over your left shoulder?
That's not a corgi.
That's a Shiba Inu.
That's the Shiba Inu. This is the Doge. So if you look into his eyes, from any angle, he was looking at you. Is the modern day Mona Lisa, is the mimetic Mona Lisa. It is the Doge. Dogecoin is the cryptocurrency that is, you know, embodied by this beautiful animal. It is a very powerful, very incredible coin. And also DOGE stands for do only good every day. Spelled backwards, it's EGOD, or potentially Ego D, representing the death of the ego. It is a beautiful modern day Mona Lisa, potentially Jesus Christ reincarnate.
If you say so, Carl, looks like a wanton corgi to me, but I'm very happy to make its acquaintance. Christina and Clayton, starting with the good-looking one.
I love that your UK roots can come back quickly, and I am not the good-looking one. But being a corgi fan, I find that to be offensive. But I will defer to greatness.
Well, so obviously there's a lot of changes going on right now, and I personally think that there's been a darkness, and now there's a lot of people that have been unified to move towards the light. And of course, scientifically, I have, along with a lot of other scientists and doctors, come up with different solutions that can help during all of this shift. And but there's obviously a lot more work to do. And I feel like we are in for some major changes in the next 6 to 9 months. And I feel very positive about the communities that have been created, like this one, where we can do this together and form new communities and new enlightenment that will help people throughout the world. And of course, that entails making a stance. It also entails a lot of work. I know personally, we are traveling around the world. I know Sacha is too, and most of you on this call are as well, trying to really be part of the foundation of the change, and that makes us stand up. And you know, being in 12 countries over the last 3 weeks, as well as being right now in the Florence and then Rome. And like Clayton said, in the Vatican City, you feel the darkness, but you also feel the light. And I feel honestly empowered by communities like this that are working together to make this change. And I think, Sacha, you've been one of the main people towards this movement. I do believe scientifically, financially, emotionally, mentally, and physically, we all have to stand up and make definitely some changes. Even I have to say this, even people don't know this, but I was trying to think, Clayton, like 3 weeks ago, I was extremely sick on this journey across Europe, and I could feel definitely a shift and definitely changes that are happening throughout the world. So you can add to that.
Thank you for that. And just to comment to that, you're talking about the weaponization of the biosphere, of course, because it's crystal clear to all of us that it is a weaponized biosphere, and it's designed probably to kill and maim. And none of us, in a sense, are inured to the effects of this weaponization. But it's a tremendous challenge at the level of mitochondria and the happiness quotient in our cells as to whether or not we can physically navigate this valley of death, right? And that's the way I see it, because psychologically we're going through mind fuckery at a level none of us born to this world ever anticipated seeing in our lifetimes, for sure. No one anticipated seeing this pantomime in the last 3 years. And yet it's upon us. It's so draconian, it's so evil, it's so weird, it's so spooky, and yet it's so perfect because it's
needed.
It's needed. So Clay, your take on where we're at. And
I think if we were reading Tolstoy, right? Because we've got this massive manuscript of our existence. We've got about 2 to 3 chapters left before this book comes to a conclusion, and we get to see a new book. And like Christina mentioned, coming here and going to Cyprus, which is going to be amazing. You can say sibling to what you're doing in Lake Bacalar. But then coming through Eastern Europe and ending up in Rome, like she mentioned, I mean, coming to the belly of the beast and, actually staying in the shadow of Satan, and being here in Rome, it gave me an opportunity, because I love the history, the architecture, but actually being in Rome and understanding that there are 900 cathedrals and chapels that are in here, and if people wanted to wonder why the deep state, these evil bastards that they are, wanted to get their hands on and take over the Vatican, it is because of that. You can't understand the scope of the focus on what God has given us until you actually see what was here and you understand how much greatness was actually put here by us and our ancestors, and how much they wanted to take from us and control us. And I think one of the things that Christina's done, is through the process of what the Trinity is, and it's some of the siblings. Sacha, it's funny you hit on the mitochondrial aspect, because I'll hit on that real quick, because she didn't. Is the ability to start cleaning up the mess that's been created. The geoengineering, the bioengineering, the levels of toxicity, both physical, spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, of everything that we're dealing with, and the programming that's coming to it. Because being in these last couple chapters, if you watch any movie where there's hostages involved, when the hostage takers realize that they're not getting out of this alive, they don't throw their hands up. They go, shit, you know what? We're going to have to start killing people. And then we're going to see what happens, but they know they're not going to win. And it is a very difficult truth for this community and really everyone to understand, that over the next, as Christina said, 6 to 9 months, but I'll give it 12 to 18, you are going to see a level of death that is going to be rather upsetting, because, and it's you can say it's biblical, right? It's in Revelations. You will be deceived, you will choose poorly, and a third of you are going to die. because of that. Because there are some people that are here in order to be examples for the masses. And I think, fortunately, we have this beautiful thing called free will. And because of what Christina's created, and it's intentional. I think this is what's really important. We had an opportunity to go, I think, 6 or 7 different countries?
No, we've been in 12.
12? Huh?
Yeah, well, we went to multiple countries multiple times. Yeah.
So being able to have conversations to let people know that, look, this is what's going on. But the key component is she was actually put here in order to solve what's going on currently. And doing so, not just saying it from a hype standpoint, but we actually have all the clinical data that shows that we're reversing everything. So if you are one, because I would assume that the majority of people here did not elect to be part of this experience, but they might have friends or family that have chosen poorly and got stabbed thinking it was the right thing to do for whatever reason. And they're probably having some complications. Maybe they don't look as bad as Bieber, but they're probably not too happy. And those things can be reversed. The issues that we're experiencing are not irreversible. But if you don't make changes, you will not be here.
Let me ask you that for a moment, because I'm curious here. I thought that once the mitochondria was hacked, that CRISPR or whatever the hell the technology is called, I thought that was irretrievable or irreversible.
No, and this is one of the interesting things, because next to me is a biotech savant like humanity has never seen before. And if
actually, one of my professors in school was one of the people that worked on CRISPR, and I'm sure you know this, Sacha. The main scientist won a Nobel Peace Prize for that. Yes. And we can resurrect dinosaurs. We can do all of that, and of course, I'm sure you also know that if we can do it, we've done it. And but like one of the new things that I've really worked on over the last year has been a mitochondria support, because once you hack that and you're splicing is what we call it, then you've got major issues that are happening generationally, and they're really hard to clean up. So you've got to do this multiple pronged approach. And you and I have talked about some things that you are working on as well that I'm very interested in. But it is very hard to reverse it. But one of the things that the Trinity helps do is really clean things out. And then we have additional things that are coming in, because the mitochondria is so important. And CRISPR was created to really hack that, almost like a computer system with like you're going in, honestly, and creating this geoengineered system that will recreate everything. So you've really got to clean it up, and then you've got to recreate what's trying to be destroyed through a system that most people across the world don't even understand. And so I really try to simplify that into just a eradication and optimization system. But it's interesting that you just brought up something that I've worked on, for the last year, and you and I didn't rehearse, obviously.
Well, I also know it's working because I'm dealing with myself with so many success stories with the root brands. Like I said, it's the one thing I've been prepared to haul myself on, because I said at the beginning of the Lazarus symposium, the initiative was all about reclamation of our sovereignty and our consciousness, and obviously of our DNA. So I'd say it's the seminal piece. Excuse me whilst I bring on other guests and don't leave them just sitting in the green room. I want to bring on Sarah Adams, who's a delightful friend of mine. You're with us. How are you, girl?
Hi, how are you? I'm so happy to be here, and you guys are talking to some amazing things right now.
You have the best background, by the way.
Oh, yes, it's my altar. Thank you.
Yeah, you win.
I don't know. I'd say it's a toss-up between the Kemper and Sarah right now. I grant you.
It's all Sarah. This is just an illusion.
Well, I have a dissolute Romanian sitting behind me, so you're doing pretty well.
But he looks like he's having a really good time.
Oh yeah.
Sarah, asking friends here on this NewEarth Horizon Summit, which really celebrates the shift point of the solstice as we move through midpoint of 2022. And 2022 was always going to be a year of great turbulence, well, great shift, put it that way, bifurcation. And so I just wanted a medley of friends who I love and trust to speak to what they believe the New Earth Horizon represents for people and planet at this time.
Well, for me, the year 2022 is very sacred. Of course, we have the number 22, the catch 22, as I call it. And I was told since 2015, because I do speak to spirits, that this year would be the catch 22 year, where everything that was in the shadows would come to light, that the dark soul of humanity that would come up so that we could see everything going on, so we could heal it, we could transmute it. So this is going on right now. I see so many people, in fear and chaos, and our systems are really putting pressure on humanity. And it's because of these things. Everything's literally coming to light right now.
The
Not
weirdest
sure what's happening.
I've got to say, this is the weirdest thing, because today this has been happening. People get muted automatically by something that's happening, and they can't hear us, we can hear them, and then it flips the other way around.
And just as she was about to channel some serious light words as well.
Well, you know what? I'm bringing on Tara Antler and King Gabriel. Friends, how are you? Good to see you.
Doing
We're
well,
great.
Sasha. Wonderful to see you as well. Hey.
Such a joy to be here.
Welcome to our New Earth Summits, and please meet Kyle Kemper and Clayton and Dr. Christina.
Pleasure to meet you guys.
It's a joy.
I recognize the Doge, by the way.
Oh,
You know what it is.
Yeah.
No Corgi.
Oh, yeah, I saw you.
He's excited.
I think you guys can hear me now, right?
Sarah, we can hear you.
We
So I'm
can.
not sure.
I was just introducing Tara Antler and King Gabriel, bringing them in from the green room, and just asking about this Doge thing. I mean, I'm obviously, unlike Clayton, I'm not one of the cool kids, but where did this icon, this Doge thing come from? Is this something we should all know about?
Well, your boy Elon has been up in that business, promoting and putting it forward. So Elon is responsible for the popularity of that Dogecoin in particular.
Then are we
Elon is responsible for the popularity,
Yes,
recent popularity, and a lot of people coming in to the Doge to make money off it, which frankly is kind of blasphemous. But it was rooted in mimetic behavior. It was created when things in Bitcoin were just getting too damn serial, and there was like a lot of competition and egos popping up within the community. So a couple guys created the Dogecoin, and it was based on a really amazing photo of this Shiba Inu named Kosuma, I think is the name. And it's just this incredible photo that it's just so amazing. And it took the internet by storm. And it goes down and will go down in history as, one of the most powerful memes of all time. And, I show this to anyone of my children. They're like, the Doge. It's the Doge.
Whatever. I mean, no disrespect, but you are the brother of the Prime Minister of Canada, and you are probably a fringe Illuminati infiltrator here into our alt network. So I don't know. I'm going to look into Elon Musk and that corgi.
Sure. I mean, I just say, let's be impeccable with our words, Sasha. Let's not violate the agreements, because this is really serious stuff, and I respect you and your soul, and I hold no allegiances or oaths to any secret societies. I operate purely out of love and out of my heart, and am on a mission to raise a family, to expand my consciousness and assist others in expanding theirs, and also to help my brother, who is being set up for a gigantic collapse. Honestly, they are trying to channel all this negative energy at him and taking this entire light working resistance movement and channel it right at him as it's all his problem. It's not his problem. He's not making these tweets. He's just reading the script, and he got himself into this position, as we've talked about before. But it's the same with the Biden. It's the same with the Boris. It's the same with the Jacinda. It's the same with the Scotty. All of them. It's so we need to like address this and ultimately come back to direct democracy as solutions for the new age. We don't need these deity figures that suck up all the energy and that that enable people to give away their personal sovereignty and give away their power to these false deities.
Kyle,
Beautifully stated, Kyle. Beautifully stated. King Gabriel, speak to this.
Yeah. I'm hearing loud and clear, or loudly and clear. And what I'm coming across is that I believe the new earth that we're headed towards, right, that we're creating, it requires us to kind of let go of the ideas of, and this might sound funny to some, but to let go of the belief and the focus on darkness, because we continue to invest in it. And the only way that energy could thrive is if it's co-opting energy from us. That's really what's happening, right? So the more that we focus on it and the more that we put energy towards that sort of stuff, the more that we sort of generate that within our own experiences. And it's on borrowed time. All of that is on borrowed time right now. That is already gone, but we keep remembering it and keep feeding it, right? So what we're doing is important. Don't get me wrong. Everybody that I see here is on point, right? We're all where we have to be. Everybody has their significant point to play and playing their part as they need to. Like Sacha, the most verbose brother ever. The way you speak and stuff definitely speaks to people across the board, right? And people admire you for that. And everybody has their part to play. But at the same time, and our bioengineering person up there, sorry, I don't know your name right now. Apologies for that. I will find out, right?
That's Dr. Christina Ram and her lesser half. I have to say that Clayton Thomas is a dear friend.
Hey,
beautiful.
I outkicked my coverage.
Yeah. Okay, good. So, everybody's playing their part and it's beautiful. And at the same time, the amount of energy that is being drawn from most of us, right? It's a bit too much sometimes, right? It's feeding them. And we need to gather that energy, harness that, and create a brand new experience. The new earth is an earth devoid of the belief in that darkness and that crap, that it could even affect us. Build something brand new, a brand new structure. It's kind of utopian, yes, right? And I guess all of us are seeing that. But at the same time, it can happen. And it needs our complete focus. It needs all of us to go in completely. Forget the rest. Leave the rest outside. Let the rest fizzle and die. It will die. It will naturally die when we stop feeding it. So this is my view on it. And yes, the Dogecoin situation and everything that's taking place, I see your intensity about that. I feel your intensity about that. And that's huge. It's important. And I get why it's important as well. It's very important. Yet all of us as a collective can continue to step forward and make strides towards a clearer vision of what we're really headed towards and sink into that completely, right? Now, am I saying that means we'll be hiccup free and we won't have people trying to do things anymore? Chances are it won't go that way. And we do need exactly what we have planned here. But eventually, we'll come to the point where we're so focused there and our energy is so much in that direction that they can't steal any more energy from us. They just can't get it. So that dies. And that's where we're headed. And I know this idea could sound like a spiritual bypass or something to some people. It's not that. It's just a regulation of energy. We all have immense energy. As you guys say it directly, we're directly connected to God, source, spirit, creator. We are the thing itself. Why would we waste our energy and give it to them all the time? We don't need to anymore.
Very good. Well, you underscore what Kyle has been saying actually for many months about the need to focus everything on building the new and not trying to dabble with the old infrastructures. Tara, give us your take as well on the NewEarth Horizon before I bring Sarah Adams back in.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much. For me, it piggybacks off what Gabriel was saying, that it's really about anchoring the light, because for us here in Canada, I feel like the monk on the mountaintop for the first time in my life, because we're travelers and we're here with our family, our little ones, and we're really anchoring big light. So shifting our focus and our gaze and radically shifting the consciousness to elevate it to that bliss, heaven, joy, expansiveness on earth, not just for us, for everyone in our future generations. Because I know for us, we think about this with our little ones. What's their future going to be like, And so really it's grounding, really anchoring and helping them understand too. So we haven't really exposed them to too much of what the fallout has been over the last couple of years. They'll see things occasionally, but we've been very mindful as to the words we use, the concepts we bring forward, and not to keep them sheltered from it, but to just not let it go into their consciousness, to keep their consciousness as clear and clean as possible, because I know they're here to anchor big light too. And so this is what we're doing. And for me, New Earth this is what I came for. You know, I've said this from the very beginning when I was like 4. Mommy, I'm here to bring heaven on earth. Okay, Tara, that's great. You know, but really that's what it is. It's so ingrained, it's seated within me. And so my intention through this is to activate and to attune and to light up through extension, through expression, through consciousness, through energy, to really help people wake up that source seed, that God seed, that light within, so that we can all, you know, really actualize the gifts. Because I believe we all have them. We all have these incredible gifts and incredible light to bring forth on the planet. It just hasn't been the safest place for people to just show up and shine. And so for me, New Earth, I'm so excited because I do agree. It's like new infrastructure, new creation, where we all get to show up and shine and feel free in every which way, free to think, free to be, free to live, free to interact, free to
create, free to express.
Create. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And look how simple it is. I mean, you guys are, you know, arguably in the most weaponized nation on earth right now, and you're speaking the opposite of the dialectic of what you're supposed to be, which is exactly how you navigate out of that scenario. So I salute you and commend you both for that. It's very, very beautiful spirit that you represent here. And of course, you're absolutely right. And we just withdraw our attention, withdraw our plasma from the witchery, and place it to exactly where we want to go. Sarah, let me ask you, Kingdom of Heaven and our galactic fellows and brethren, where's the connection between our galactic or cosmogenetic brothers and sisters and the Kingdom of Heaven manifesting on earth today?
You know, just recently, the other day, I had this experience. I was actually sitting in my living room and I saw the Kachinas and then I saw the ETs, and they gave me this message. They said that, you know, all of the unhealed energies within us is creating this dense energy around the planet. And that's what the elite are using to keep the false light matrix system in place. So they said to focus on healing. And as we focus on healing, that's going to transmute that dense energy around the planet into golden light. So this is what they were expressing to me, that this year really focus on healing because everything is coming up.
Okay, so it's transmutation more than transcendence right now.
Yes, a lot of transmutation and just bringing back the ancient practices that we used to do before there was this fallen frequency. That was, you know, to scan the planet. We can focus on New York, we can focus on Chicago, we can focus on all these dense spots around the planet, and just visualizing shifting that dense dark energy to the golden light. And because we're God's source energy, we have those abilities, we have superpowers. And I believe this year a lot more people will wake up to that and start to use their abilities to heal themselves and the planet.
Beautiful. Thank you. Nancy Ash, Reverend Dr. Nancy Ash, forgive me. Just keen, I mean, we've been colleagues for many years and been through many battles. And I love you greatly. And I love your husband, Swami John, greatly. But let me ask you, Nancy, because we kind of, you know, conjoined at the hip anyway.
Yeah.
But where do you see the NewEarth Horizon taking humanity this year?
Well, first of all, it's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be anywhere these days. So I'm resting here in my bliss body. And New Earth, this is New Earth for us, 2.0, a recalibration of many things on that level. But, you know, essentially the New Earth is already here. It's already been here. It's all about frequency in my belief, in my heart space. And so we just need to tune in to that frequency of what we feel it is to be a new Earth. In our last panel, our beloved Chief Nakali was talking about, we're in Aquarius, you know, the new time, it's going to be easier for us. You know, we are at a great shift, but it's all where we're at individually. And then we just manifest it collectively. So for me, the manifestation, the full manifestation is where I'm feeling called. And this is all soul purpose. I feel like we're all a soul family. And so it's a great part of my purpose to be here and help fully manifest that I came here to do. And so I wear a number of hats, trustee of the ITNJ, and my main big brimming hat the last 8 years, due to Sacha's prodding, twisting my arm, not too much, but is helping to run the NewEarth University. So the unlearning part of our visioning of our project, of our New Horizons. So, and that has been a great honor and a privilege to do. I feel really blessed to do it. So I'm very positive about the future. I think we're going to be going through a little bit more of a shift, as we're calling it. There's groups out there. What is it? SHTF. But it's all part of the cleansing. It's all part of that awakening that we're all going through. And it is what it is. And so we just arise and abide together in oneness, because we are all one.
Well, momentarily,
Yeah.
I'll momentarily walk through the new portal that we're launching, which
Cool.
we're hoping is going to be a kind of voice piece for a great many people around the world. But a lot of thought and love has gone into it. Christina, let me ask you something here. Mitochondria, ascension. I mean, is mitochondria by definition a hyperdimensional quanta?
Yeah, I think that's interesting you just asked me that, because there's a mitochondria of the universe, right? And then there's the mitochondria of our bodies, and they're correlated. My work as a nanotechnologist, bioscience engineer has been, with the land, air, and water up to the stratosphere in the universe and in the body. And, Sacha, I haven't had time to tell you this, but I had, 4 attacks on the patents that I wrote for 6 years. And I didn't even hire an attorney. I had people trying to fight the patents that basically have a huge element on the mitochondria, because my focus going back about 10 years was on solving this eradication and cleansing of the land, air, and water, and the stratosphere and our universe, and then up to other dimensions, as well as the body, because we're all energetically aligned. We are and have been aligned with other universes. There is not a theory of the black hole and string theory. They're all connected, and the mitochondria is at the center of it, which is inside of us. So when the mitochondria is under attack, either in our bodies or in this universe or another, we have to clean it. And it's very connected. And so the focus that I have had has been on that. And recently, about a week ago, actually, it was ruled unanimously that the patents that I wrote were, and I actually, Sacha, can't believe that this even happened. If you asked me, would those have gotten approved? My thought process was no, because we know the darkness that's there, but yes, they were. And it was voted unanimously that no one can fight them anymore, that it was actually adequate, and not just adequate, but something new that has been determined. And I know that, our connection is part of this. We have to cleanse this, and we have to all be united to work together and create these solutions. I'm not scared. I agree with everything the Reverend said and the doctor said about all of us going into this new world together. But, energetically, there's a lot of things that have to be cleansed. And I feel like it's not just different formulas that I've worked on. It's not just different things that you've created and other people have been created. Together, we are working energetically to solve a lot of these problems. And I really do look at this as an energetic spiritual battle that we are working on, and that we are in the evolution to really solve this in a positive light. And I agree with Sarah that there is, we have to give our energy to this golden light around our universe and solve these together. I really believe that. I think that it's something that it has to be a unified effort for all of us to create these solutions.
Very good. Thank you. Beautifully stated. I want to bring on Patricia Corey, who is a best-selling author, speaker, dear friend, and a very sensitive woman. We've done some very immersive conversations over the last couple of years. She's the host of Beyond the Matrix, and is very connected to what's going on in this world and what is going on outside of this world. Patricia, can you hear us okay?
I can. Thank you. It's nice to. I had a little trouble getting connected in, but we got it in at the last minute. So
well,
I missed.
You're glowing. You're glowing in the dark as ever, Patricia. Thank you for joining us, and just wanted to get your tuppence on the NewEarth Horizon as we move through this midsummer's day, the solstice today. What is your take on where we're headed as a planet and as a species?
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to thank you for having me on, and thank you for sharing all of the information that you always bring through. So, I thought about the theme of this conversation before I came on, and I was reminded of a comment that my friend Dan Willis made. You may know him. He was an expert witness in the Steve Bassett disclosure hearings years ago. And the other day he said, it feels like we're inside a television and we can't get out. I thought that was a very profound observation. And, others describe how it feels like we're in a simulation and that the transhumanist thrust is part of that. But in reality, that's a fragment of a window on reality. We're moving out of the TV set, beyond the Truman Show and beyond the simulation. That is the new Earth. It's a world where we, the sovereign beings, are writing the story, writing our own story. It's not program central anymore. It's not the puppet masters at the great Hollywood studio in the sky, not the overlords, not the reptiles. When we're talking about the new world, we're talking about the new frontier, and we are the pioneers of that. We're taking back the narrative. We're revealing the ending of this seemingly never-ending story and opening our hearts and minds to an unscripted, limitless new vision of life and merging with higher dimensional beings and consciousness. So
that's beautifully said.
Thank you, Sacha. From you,
that's very beautiful. So the bifurcation is less to do with good and evil, fear and love, than it is. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is your thinking. It's less to do with the dialectic of duality than it is to do with how we move through the dross of our own unresolved aspect, shadow, at the soul level, and move into the nested perfection of the pure form geometry of our soul. So the bifurcation is me bifurcating from the old me. So the capitalized self is the one that is doing the bifurcation from the minimized one. And I see that, and that's beautiful, because that helps me to withdraw from the idea that evil is out there, that there is an enemy out there, that there's something out there, that I'm a victim of something. No, I'm not. I'm the architect, the engineer, the creator, ever was. Thank you for that. That's beautiful. Kyle, does that resonate with you?
Absolutely. Thank you all for these incredible words of wisdom and sharing and blowing forth this white golden light. I was with my wife the other morning, and someone just sent me this link to sharetheprophecy.com. I'm not sure. Has anybody heard that?
No.
It's a beautiful anonymized account of channeled messages and recurrent messages, talking about like how the light is coming forth and it's going to shine strong, and there's nothing we can do to stop it. Nothing can stop the great awakening of humanity. It is coming. And how this whole COVID, she was actually recounting this moment where the first time she was in her car and the radio came on, and it was the first instance of the COVID spell. And she said she looked down and just saw a black smog radiating from the car. And then all of a sudden this black started taking over, it's taken over whole countries, took over whole cities. And, that's this energy that's trying to suppress, this collective light. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. Like, we're going to like shine through, and in the end at the end of all this, like, we mentioned a little bit earlier that there's potentially some great suffering that might be taking place for people.
And
And
can I throw something in here?
please.
Yes.
So we talk a lot about we are becoming, it's the future. And it's so important, when we say we're going to get through this, we are getting through this. I think we need to really always direct our attention to the fact that we are doing it now. This is the Great Awakening. It's not the future. We're in it. We're totally in it. And
We are.
it's important, I think, that we drive that home, that, we're not moving into a higher dimension. We're not going to a future that's different. This is it, baby. We're in it. We're in the intense upheaval, and we are winning. We are truly winning. When we can have conversations like this.
Let me bring on Jesse Hall, who's stuck in the production in the green room, and I'm feeling a little guilty, so I need to whiz him through my portal, my time gate. Jesse, you have a dove that's landed on your face.
Hi everyone.
Very good to see you, Jesse.
Nice to see all you beautiful souls.
Hey, Jesse.
So Jesse, we're asking everyone here, and this is it. I don't think anyone else is joining us. This is our family today. Asking everyone just to describe the NewEarth Horizon as it relates to their own vision and mission, and where you feel the world is going in the year 2022 as we move through midsummer today.
Well, in one word, utopia. I think it's, we're here to bring heaven on earth like it's meant to be here, back to a symbiotic relationship with our surroundings, with each other. And I think if we all are collaborating together instead of working against each other, this is what the NewEarth Horizon is to me.
Beautiful. I love that. And I have to now turn to Bruno Mihailescu, who flew here from Bucharest. Did we come together?
I don't know.
Did we fly together?
I think so, yeah.
I was stoned on lorazepam. Don't, Christina. Christina, I know what you're going to say, but I was stoned on lorazepam, and I have no recollection of any flight from Bucharest to Cancun. But
we was in the same plane.
Jesus, whatever. What is
Einstein.
the NewEarth?
The vision of the new world, it's ecotopia, because it's beautiful to create something with the expression of the frequency of the new earth. And I'm so blessed that I hear you all, such a beautiful people, part of this 144,100, which are the light workers, putting these emotions to heal the planet and heal the rest of the mankind, which was stuck in the darkness and in the ignorance of their own choices. And yes, we are really create this beautiful vision with everything that we learn to express our beauty from our creative souls. And each one of us, it's a little piece of God that should create and gather together. For me, communities, this kind of communities that we are going to build, it's the pure essence of who we have to be right now. Come back to the roots of who it was built in the beginning and live simple, beautiful, and just. And this is all about. Come back to the nature, come back to God, come back to one consciousness.
So Bruno and I have been partners in different endeavors, mostly technological innovations. He represents a very, very compelling circle of military intelligence scientists, engineers, doctors, and a lot of them are very powerful individuals who, in a sense, have withdrawn their algorithms, their innovations, their mathematics and engineering from the military industrial basement in Eastern Europe, Russia, Eastern Europe, emphasis in that part of the world. And we all know how clever they are in that part of the world. So the extraordinary technologies that we're developing, I've spoken publicly only about LifePod technologies, which we're going to do a little media drop in a little while and show you some updates on that. I was out there with him for about 12 days. We went up into the mountains, the Buchechi Mountains, to skirt close to where the great big laboratory was discovered in 2004 inside the Buchechi Mountains, laboratory for giants, carved out of stone. A huge 30+ meter high cupola or dome laboratory was discovered. And the Romanian military guys who discovered it were stupid enough to alert the US military. They, of course, sent Delta Force in and they closed the fucking facility down, which they do. They did the same thing in the Wadi Rum Desert with the Ark of the Covenant, which was discovered by the Saidi Foundation. So the point being that since 2004, the Buchechi Mountain, the laboratory of the giants, which appears to be connected to the cosmogenesis of seeding of humanity. I need to caveat by saying there have been multiple seedings of humanity and multiple angelic seedings as well. But certainly this granite laboratory facility inside the Buchechi Mountains, about an hour or so outside of Bucharest in Romania, appears to be the closest thing we've got to a hard forensic evidence of a cosmogenesis laboratory. Now, we know from the accounts of some military guys who got in there, one of whom is part of our circle, and maybe he's prepared to talk in the coming days and weeks more publicly about what's going on inside. But there's diagrams and a lot of anecdotes, holograms.
How was create actually the human species, the entire universe, planets, everything. And they said that is too powerful, this information, to be released to the public, and they hide it for so many years.
So this is the thing. And the good military intelligence guys in Romania are really wanting to prosecute for that to be made open source and public disclosure, because it is their conviction, as it will be our conviction here on this panel, that this stuff belongs to humanity, not to a bunch of crooked Eagle Scouts working for various Masonic military traditions. So that's part of the struggle that we have at hand, is how do we deal with these internecine wars going on in the basement between different military factions and so on. Kyle, you're
yes. So Alpa has Joanne's furiously messaging me out of pure intention that Alpa has sent a message for us. I believe you have it. It's been recorded, and I just wanted to help lead, because I know Alpa was really excited to be part of this and had wisdom to share.
Thank you. I didn't. Is it an audio message, Joanne?
I think it's Skype. I think.
Joanne, unmute.
It's in Skype or WhatsApp.
Oh, it's an audio message she left for us?
Yeah, for everyone, for you to play.
Is she unable? She's unable to get on.
She's unable. She's tried everything.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, I'll see what I can do whilst we're wheezing here to see if I can download that. Thanks very much. Very good. Thank you, Messenger, with the corgi ears.
The Doge.
And I have
it's okay.
If I can add something to that, Sacha, if I can add something for Kyle real quick. Kyle, my favorite corgi died about 10, 11 years ago. I still have some amazing photos. So what I think would be best is if we take some photos of an amazing corgi, we make a meme and we send it to your family so we can reconstruct how they're viewed. So if Doge is that great, we know we're corgi fans here. Obviously.
I mean, the corgi is a beautiful, exceptional animal.
I think we have to go corgis, and then we'll call it good. But Sacha, you just hit on a couple things that are bringing some really cool things to light, and I think Patricia hit on something as well. But what we're in the midst of And you've heard it talked about before. I know we've discussed it, but we, as we talk about our ascension, our growth, our development, we're seeing the recrystallization of this operating system, right? For those that are, starting to become aware and then are awakening. And we understand that the pineal gland is loaded with little crystal oscillators. And as we decalcify that, and because of the increase in bioavailable silica that we can put into this operating system, which science has also shown us, it's silica that creates microchips that allows other computers to run. And since we are the greatest quantum computer ever made, and when you hear about the aspects of the holographic research that's been done that helped create us, it makes it really interesting that our ascension really comes back to our crystallization and optimization of this complete operating system. But Sacha, one other fun note, because I watched a couple of the posts you put on social media over the last week and a half while you were traveling. When we were in Cyprus a couple weeks ago, we were with one of our new business partners who's Turkish. He's one of the top developers in Turkey that's doing some work in Cyprus. And we were at dinner. And we were talking about where everybody was from. And he's like, yeah, my wife is Russian. I'm like, really? And I asked him, I said, what part of Russia is she from? And he stopped. He looked at me and he said, yeah, she's Tartar.
Ooh.
And as my wife will mention, I went off there. And now Kyle has it correct with good corgi photos. But being able to discuss with someone.
No.
What happened to you? Tell me my friends didn't fall off. They fell off. Good
No,
Lord.
am I back?
No, it's right there. You've just decided to highlight me, but thank you.
My son was calling us. He's probably jealous because he's the one left in the United States while the rest of the familia is here in Italy. But to actually talk with someone whose wife is Tartarian and to discuss the history of the culture and the conversations that his wife has had with him, and to watch his face change when I took great interest and started going into his wife's history, and they knew it, and watching some of our Cypriot partners actually get really close because of the connections. And it was really intriguing talking when we finished dinner. I made the comment, it's like, it's really great to be around like-minded people because he's not part of this collective, right? He's a complete outlier. And he looked at me with this huge grin. I was like, it's great to have, our community as it is. And he looked at me with this huge smile. He's like, oh, there's lots of us. Just know.
Wow. Well,
there's lots.
That is exciting. And I have to say that what I learned in Romania through meeting with Bruno's extended circle out there is that return of Grand Tartaria is imminent. We're not going to necessarily see the giants trundling back out of the caves, but the point being that the legacy of Grand Tartaris is with us already, and this is frequency and vibration technologies. Ones that can remediate all things. I know that what Dr. Christina is working on is all frequency based as well. Everything's frequency and vibration based. But when we get into etheric transmission of energy forms and changing the geometry of the ethers, which is really what was in the gift of the ancient Tartarians, when they had, by best accounts, a golden age that was proliferating all around the surface of the earth with these huge buildings and beautiful towns and cities, very magical spaces and places, many of which have been laid to waste in desecration. The First World War, the Second World War are only two chapters in our moderately recent history, which speak not to the Nazis and not to Franz Ferdinand being slapped with a fucking glove in his car and they're declaring war on, Prussia or whatever the fuck they make up as the reason for the First World War. All nonsense, such insidious, infantile nonsense. The fact of the matter is that First World War, Second World War Napoleonic Wars, and a great many others have been part of a systemic implosion and desecration of the memory of the Golden Age and the wiping out, the mud floods, all of that stuff. We won't go into that here. Sarah, I can see that you are, you're wanting to say something to the subject.
Yes, so the crystalline system, I wanted to go back to that because we have crystals in our body. Of course, you know, the pyramids, there's so many crystals in the pyramids, there's crystals in the planet, and I was shown there's crystals throughout all the planets in the star system, and that crystalline system actually channels light through the cosmos directly into us. So what they're doing right now is they're trying to shift that, and that's why we have a lot of what I call false light crystals, like bleach salt, bleach sugar, that they're crystals, and by putting those in our body, that actually messes up our original crystalline system that's supposed to literally gather the cosmic light, the divine light into us to charge us. That's my experience with it.
Beautiful. Thank you. Love it. Jesse, we need to hear from you. Crystals, giants, speak to us.
All fascinating stuff. Love the crystals. Love doing the crystal grids. I believe that, you know, crystals are energy portals, and we're not utilizing that enough. Giants, haven't seen any. I, you know, believe they were here at one point in time, but you know, it's fascinating, and something I'm trying to research more into is the Tartarian mud floods, because I believe that's an integral part of history that they have erased, you know, from us.
Indeed. Gabriel and Tara, keen to hear your take on the need for correcting history as part of an integral reassessment of our matrix and moving it into this manifest kingdom of heaven, so to speak. Speak to us about history and the need to correct history.
Yeah, I feel like this is such an essential piece of it, because I know that this is the work that we've been doing, that we've assisted so many other people to do as well. And I think it's actually easier than we think, that this is just what I've been given as a possible way to do this. Is if people ask us this all the time, well, what geometries, or how do I rebuild? And if you watch kids are amazing for this, because they know somewhere inside themselves, just like I believe we all know somewhere deep inside of ourselves too. And if we just start playing a little bit more, not taking it so seriously, this is what I have found, is just playing with it, just like we would play with blocks. And you construct something and you say, I don't really like the look of that. So our kids will take the block pieces apart and put new pieces in. And I know that we all have the capacity to do that. Just like others were saying here, the quantum field and quantum generators, we are the power that lights it all up. We are the essence that is streaming light through and to everything to animate it all. And if there's something that we don't see, if we see that we don't like, then bring it back inside and reconfigure and reconstruct, and not from it doesn't have to be so serious. Just from that place of, imagine playing with Play-Doh. What would you create? Imagine playing with blocks. What would you create? And the mind knows how to work that all out. If people don't understand the geometries, or what, you know, do I work with the platonic solids? Do I work with what geometrical configuration? I have been seeing a lot of that. I've seen, I think I spoke to you about this, about the cube and things changing and the geometries changing. I could see that in dream state and intuitively. And when I'm describing this to other people to make it easy for them, is to say, start with your own world, start with your own life. It's all connected, micro to macro. So if there's something that is inside, whether it's the past, a story, a framework, whatever it is, how I'm showing up, how the government's showing up, whatever it is, big or small, work it inside. Start to enact your own creative abilities as the grand creators that we actually all are. When we talk about giants, I've never seen a giant. Sometimes I feel like a giant. I feel like I'm giant head sometimes when I'm working energetically. So I know that's in me. And I feel that activation of that light, those God source codes within. And we all have that. It's just a matter of accessing it and to make it easy to access. And that's the thing that I love, is just making it really easy, and we all have a part to play. And if we can start doing this, each and every one of us, to say, I don't like this, or I don't like that, or whatever it is, bring it in, clean inside, heal inside, shift inside, change the story, but also just start playing with it and not take it so seriously. Because I have found that in my creative world, I create so much faster when I'm in a state of joy. I can create from pain too, pain and suffering, but usually what I get to experience is not so fun. So if I play and create from joy, it moves so fast. And then we are like, I feel like we are living in a bliss bubble of heaven on earth experience here because we've created that. We've intentionally co-created that. And it's possible for everybody.
Beautiful. Love it.
Great. And I have a few words. What I'd like to say is this. If you scour the internet right now, or you just take a quick view of YouTube and that sort of stuff, you'll see that more people are coming forth with stories of remembering where they come from, remembering the light, right? I'm one of those oddballs in a sense.
Yeah.
From before childhood or in early childhood, I remembered where I was from, right? And I've never forgotten. It went through life with me. Right? Some people are waking up to remember that, but we really are that. It's not just fantasy or some kind of thing that people say because it sounds good or whatever. It's real, right? And it's what I've lived with and how I look at life. And I honestly believe everyone right now is waking up to realize exactly what they are and their function. Now, that being said, also in experience, just through meditation and through little astral travel things I was doing, dabbling with in my spiritual journey, because I'm very, I'm an explorer to a certain degree. I've had experiences of, just as the doctor has said, that micro to macro, macro to micro relationship. Went in the mirror and looked, and what I saw was basically the universe in the outline of a body, right? In that experience. And when you see things like that, it lets you know directly the relationship of your self, right, to everything. You see that you are everything, or at least that's my experience of it. And in seeing things like that, the way that I look at the world is different. And I know everybody's having their unique experiences to bring them about to really seeing who and what they are and living from that place. It's not living like everyone has control over you or the world has control over you. It's living from the space of, I'm the thing itself. I'm the source. I'm you could say a part of the creator if you'd like to, but in a holographic universe, a part is the whole, isn't it?
Wonderful.
While the thing itself, walking and living, what do you choose? Do you choose to continue to feed your energy and give yourself to them as a slave? Or do you choose to live as a god? Do you choose to live as a god? That's really what it is, right?
Or goddess.
Or goddess.
Or
exactly.
goddess.
That's where we're at. And this is the time for that. I know it may sound blasphemous to some who are into, certain sorts of thinking.
No, it's of no consequence if that's blasphemous or heretic to some, and their thinking, their arcane thinking, that's of no consequence to us. I think that was very beautifully stated. Thank you. Kyle, keen to get your take here. You've spoken at great length about in the great tradition of one of your heroes, Buckminster Fuller, the need to make the existing systems obsolete by completely architecting the new. How does that apply to history when we are waking to the fact that our entire historical narrative, by best accounts, has been completely corrupted, desecrated, and overwritten? How do we recreate something which has been obscured from us in the past?
What a question, Sacha. Gosh, you're good. I think it's a product of the system that has enabled for a fake or for a the winner's account of how history should be told and written, and through decentralization and debate and open forum that we can start chronicling the journeys. But also I feel like there's also this it's okay to forget as well. Like, we don't necessarily need to live our lives in the past. We want to learn from the past, the experience of the past. We want to plan for the future. We want to act in the now and ultimately live in the eternal, is, I think, our destiny. But we have new tech that can help us chronicle truths and enable it up for debate. And, ultimately the truth is is not told, but learned or realized. And also just trusting thy intuition about certain things. Like, yeah, you know what? I'm just not going to take this thing they're trying to push on me. I don't need to debate you why I don't want to take it. I'm just not going to take it. In my heart, in my gut, I know it's wrong. I don't need to defend myself. I don't need to get into an argument. Just trust yourself and move forward. So
beautiful. Well, I asked Dan Winter recently, who many believe is the cleverest man on earth, and I've been friendly with Dan for many years. And I asked him in the south of France when I was visiting him the last time. Dan, who's the person who you believe is the cleverest person on earth? And he said to me, and I said, who would you take with you to accompany you to live on a desert island for all time? Somebody who would be fascinating for you, being the cleverest man on earth. And he said, oh, hands down, that would be Eliza Donovan. Eliza Donovan's the mathematician, extraordinary woman who, fortuitously for NewEarth, is also heading up our science team with Shinaz Soni, our NASA rocket scientist who was on the show for a couple of hours earlier, and a great many other very brilliant mathematicians. Professor Florian Kolcieg in Romania, who is just next level clever. He's like the Dr. Christina Ram of the mathematics world. And Professor Florian, which I will attest shortly when I show you a little clip, has an algorithm that is communicating directly with the Akashic field. And I wore the helmet. And they managed in 160 seconds or something to scan me, mind, body, and soul. This is on the film I'm about to show you. And that scanning was able to corroborate with the Akashic field the signature of my mitochondria. And the signature of my mitochondria spoke to the essence of who I be, what I be. Alpha, omega, with millions of vectors being applied through this mathematical algorithm. It's like the kind of fifth dimensional I Ching thing that Professor Florian Kolcieg, who's a legendary figure, and he heads up our mathematics division with a bunch of other geniuses. But the point I'm making is this, is that we are, according to Eliza Donovan, who I have not yet put together with Professor Florian Kolcieg, but we're planning that this year to get them in a room and lock the fucking room. Probably pad the walls, but lock them in there, throw lots of grapefruits and chocolate in there, whatever they want, and see what they come up with. But the point is this: we're able to communicate to the Akashic field directly now using supercomputation. We're able to also communicate with the mitochondria, the frequency of our DNA, and tell who we are, mind, body, and soul. So my character, my personality, my dirty habits and dirty secrets, everything was exposed in the boardroom of our company in Bucharest, and courtesy of this man who set me up, monkey. But I was exposed to this boardroom filled with engineers and scientists, and it was all out there. I did say, yeah, I'm good for it, but it's spooky, it's revelatory, it is exquisite when you get into something which can actually do this computation, then show you who you are, that there's no wriggle room, there's no fuzzy logic, there's no gray areas here. This is who you are. Are you capable of being an oath keeper? Are you capable of being a parliamentarian? Are you capable of being a good policeman? You see, we can apply this algorithm now through supercomputation to ensuring that people who are representing humans are actually not shape-shifting Draco reptilians, because this algorithm will also reveal your cosmic genetic. It is the universal genome, actually. That's what Professor Kolcieg calls it. Now, the point I'm getting at in my abstract way is that Eliza Donovan, genius of geniuses, mathematician as well, who I'm bringing together with Kolcieg, tells me that we are arguably only a few short years, maybe 5 years away from being able to, in our own laboratory, just so you know, not funded by Glaxo or any of these other morons, able to create a lens through which we can view history. You'd literally have glasses on that you could dial. And this is the hard physics that we're working on. And the idea being that you'll be able to dial into these glasses and literally go back in time, the myth of time, because the information is mathematical. It's scalar.